Hi guys, welcome back to a new video. In today's video, I want to talk about a pretty popular topic at the moment, and this is which tier set should be remastered next by Blizzard. Recently, we got some upgraded and remastered tier 2 sets during the WoW 20th anniversary event, and so as you can see, these are basically the same sets from Classic WoW, but they're just now with all the 3D PCs, remastered, more HD, and basically just way more high resolution sets compared to the ones from Classic WoW. But the essence of the set is still there, and they're just basically the new sets that Blizzard decided to do based on these old models. And also with patch 11.1.7, we're gonna get some recolored versions of these remastered tier 2 sets. And later on, we might get even more of these other recolored versions because more of them have been data mined already. So here, just to show you again, these are, for instance, all the different remastered, recolored tier 2 sets that you will be able to get in patch 11.1.7. And because this is something that has been so well received by the players and also that I think is very popular and obviously a pretty good idea for Blizzard to do, I do think they should consider doing that with more of the other tier sets that we have from Classic WoW. This is also not the first time that it's decided to do something like that. We also got some remastered tier 6 sets during Legion, and I think again these different sets were very popular. I know that many players were super happy with these remastered versions of again the original tier 6 sets. And so I do think, again, that this is something that Blizzard should do with more of these different sets from the very old expansions, especially the ones that were just very low res and that had a lot of potential, but again, were just sets that back in the days were pretty good, but for today's standards are not as good as they should be. Personally, I really hope that next Blizzard will do a remastered version of all the original tier 3 sets because I really think these are the best sets we've ever had in the game, and I still think these are so cool, especially because of the different colors for each of the different sets and also because of the fact that they represent so well each class that I think they do deserve to have a remastered version of these sets. Especially here, you have some of the most iconic sets, such as, for instance, this one, the Dreadnought set for warriors. You have, of course, this one for mages, this one for druid, hunter, paladin, priest, rogue, shaman, and warlock. And all of them are so amazing in their own ways. We did get some kind of recolored version of these different sets through the Vault version of Naxxramas. But these were more recolored version and not remastered version, even though the 25 mode version of the sets was a little bit more specific. But again, it's very different than having an actual remastered version of these very cool sets with today's, let's say, quality and everything Blizzard can do for these different type of sets, similar to what they've done for tier 2 sets. Here, for instance, and I would recommend you to go support this guy because he's doing amazing work and he has really good ideas for videos. But basically, he does a lot of these different remastered weapons, mounts, and other sets from Classic WoW. And a few months ago, he did a video on the Dreadnought set. So as you can see, this is, for instance, what he managed to come up with. And I think it does look really awesome. And then you have like a few different options for different colors that these different recolored remastered tier 3 sets could have. So again, I will let you go and watch the full video if you want to see exactly how he did all of that. And he has way more videos that are really interesting. So if you enjoy this type of content, again, I would recommend you to go and support him. But so I do think a remastered tier 3 set would be something that players would be super happy with. And overall, I don't think it would be an issue with the fact that these sets have been pretty rare and hard to get because more and more it's a little bit more accessible, especially since patch 10.0.7 and from the new quest line to Naxxramas where you can actually get some of these different sets by doing the new quest line. But also simply because these will be completely different than the original ones, and so I still think this would be a really great thing and probably very well received by the player base. Another category of sets that personally, I would like to see Remastered are all the tier 0.5 sets and tier 0.5 upgraded sets. So these ones have been some really cool sets, and you can find all of them through the Darkwind Fair if you want to get these original sets from Classic WoW. But I do think that it would be great to have some remastered versions of these different original sets because, again, these really represent each class very well. And overall, I think these look really, really cool. Another set personally that I would love Blizzard to remaster is this Icebane plate sets. So especially the plate one I think is super, super cool. You have, of course, the other ones for each of the different category of armors, but these are definitely not as cool as you can see. And so that's why I think the plate one would be really cool as a remastered version, because this is just a very, very badass set overall. Personally, I don't really care so much for tier 1 sets, so I know some people would also probably be happy to get some remastered version of these ones, but honestly I don't find them that cool. Maybe the Warlock one is really, really nice, and maybe the Rogue one, but other than that, not the biggest fan, so these ones I don't care too much for. Then from the Burning Crusade, I would say that the tier 5 would be really, really awesome, because these were some pretty iconic armors. And I do think that these would look super, super cool with a remastered version. The tier 4 were also pretty nice. Again, not as cool as the tier 5, but still pretty good sets overall. And then obviously the tier 6 have already been remastered during Legion. So this is not something that we need to have again. Then when it comes to Wrath of the Lich King, I think here, again, there's maybe only the tier 10 from ICC that would be interesting. Some of the tier 8 sets are also pretty good, so I would say these ones might also be interesting, but again, these ones are already a little bit more like high res and everything, so it might be a little bit tricky to make them remastered. And I think after that it's going to be very difficult because these different sets are already pretty high quality, and so I don't think past Wrath of the Lich King that Blizzard will really be able to remaster some of these different sets. Even though they could do some new takes on some of these different original sets, but I think anything after Wrath of the Lich King should not really be considered as a potential remastered sets. So yeah, for me, I would say tier 3 is a priority, tier 0.5 would be really cool as well, tier 5 from TBC, and then probably tier 10 and tier 8 from Wrath of the Lich King would be really, really awesome. But the priority, in my opinion, should be tier 3 because these are the coolest sets that we have in the game, and I really, really want Blizzard to do some remastered version of these different sets. So let me know in the comments what you think about these remastered sets, and if you think it's a good idea for Blizzard to keep having new tier sets remastered and having more recolored version of these remastered tier sets. Personally, I think back in Vanilla WoW and also TBC and War for the Lich King, we got some of the best sets in the game. And so I think having some remastered versions of these OG sets makes sense. And I think that's why the tier 2 remastered sets have been so popular. And so I'm really hoping that Blizzard will continue doing things like that because, yeah, overall, I think this is really cool. But let me know if you agree or not, and especially let me know which specific tier sets you would love to see Blizzard remaster or not. I will be back very soon with more guides and more videos, and in the meantime I wish you all a great day. Bye!